Right, welcome back to another edition of Wedding Wednesdays here at Your Relationship Sucks! Exclamation point. Here today, just like every Wednesday, we're breaking down the wedding questions. Right, we want to make sure people can start off their nuptials with on a positive note. Stop all the dumb shit that usually happens when you're planning a wedding. You get stressed, you fight about stupid things. We're just trying to be an objective voice to that. Again, I haven't seen this question. I don't know, but you got something good, so we can get to it. We can get to our first impressions. We get to the first impression segment here. So hit me with it. What's the question? Let's see what's going on.
The question is, how do I disinvite my dad from my wedding?
Text message. Yep.
And are you on the side of the dad or are you on the side of the poster?
Don't know. That wasn't the question. The question was, how do I do it? Text message. 100%.
I know, but I want to know, who do you think is going to be the right person?
This lady sounds like this is a very considered decision. Her dad is going to be just, like the worst human being in the world. So I'm on her side. Text message.
Okay.
100%.
Text
Absolutely,
message.
100%.
He's a piece of shit. Okay, Let's go. We started planning our wedding before 2020 happened, and after a few months of uncertainty, it looked like we'd be okay. The ceremony was going to be outside. The venue had a lot of outdoor space, and we could cut our guest list down to 30, current UK restriction on wedding receptions. With a minimal amount of upset, it was originally going to be double that, and we haven't actually sent invitations yet. Then, last week, my dad decided he was done with my mom and left. No warning, no attempt at reconciliation, just gone. She's gone all to pieces, of course, and my siblings and I have stepped up to be there for her. I cannot imagine having this man at my wedding now. Granted, I've had to take time off work this past week because I've been in too much of a blind rage to focus. But even once my brain wraps itself around the fact that this is how it is now, how could I? How could he walk me down the aisle, give a speech, celebrate my marriage when this is what he's done to his? How could I ask a small gathering of my nearest and dearest to put up with having him there, knowing what he's done? How could I possibly ask my mom and siblings to do that? My mom understands how I feel, though reminds me that I might feel differently in 6 months. My partner, siblings, and close friends all agree that if I don't want him there, then that's that on that. I need help working out, firstly, if I'm overreacting, and then secondly, if I do decide he's not coming, how do I handle that? Last he heard, we were debating over whether to move our date, so he doesn't actually know when the wedding is. Part of me wants to wait until he feels the need to ask about it and then ask him why he needs to know. But I'm still very angry and I need a more level-headed perspective.
Turns out I am against this girl. Number one, you're in a blind rage. You're obviously overreacting. Like, those are synonymous. I don't understand. Like, am I overreacting? Yeah, you're fucking overreacting. This shit ain't rocket science. Like, that's obviously the case.
So you're saying whenever you're in a blind rage, you're overreacting, or just for this specific?
No, whenever you're in a blind rage, you are overreacting.
Okay, I'm just 100%. Understanding. Okay.
Blind rage, by definition, that's not like, oh, I'm frustrated, I'm angry, I'm now fired up. It's, I'm in a blind rage and I am going to destroy everything in my path. That's some evil genius level shit. Okay, that's not like rational human being level awareness of your situation. So yeah, you're fucking overreacting. Number one, you're overreacting. Number two, real weird to say that your mom understands where you're coming from. That was just, I don't know, that was weird. But what that tells me is that your mom not overreacting to the situation. Your mom actually said to you, you might feel different in 6 months. So maybe that tells you something. I don't know. Like, I mean, you're like, oh, out of the blue, Didn't say anything. No chance of reconciling. Well, number one, doesn't sound like they're gonna fucking reconcile anyway. So maybe it's better that he doesn't stick around. They fucking beat each other. They, beat each other's head against the walls, and spend a bunch of money on a marriage therapist. It's not gonna help. Maybe that's just me. I don't know. Honestly, it doesn't sound like your mom's that broken up about it. I mean, she's like, hey, whatever. You don't want him there, like, fine, but maybe you should have him there. I mean, that's basically what she said, right? So, here's the thing that I don't understand. And I don't know. Maybe I'm weird. Maybe you'll think I'm weird. I don't know. When somebody else does something that doesn't really affect my life, right? I get it. Oh, my dad, he did this or whatever. It doesn't really affect your life, I mean, it just doesn't. Like, I'm sorry, it just doesn't. It might affect what you think about him, right? Or, affect like the relationship you have or whatever, but like, it doesn't really affect your life. Like, you're going to wake up the next day, you got to go to work, you got responsibilities. Like,
Yeah.
It's not really going to do shit to your life.
Yeah, she's not a child. It's not like the household that she's living in is suddenly drastically different.
No, you're a grown person. It's not going to drastically affect your life on a day-to-day basis. I've never understood reacting strongly to somebody doing something that doesn't really affect my life. I don't know. Maybe that's just me. Maybe I'm weird. I'm not sure. But like, I just, whatever. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
Like, this guy walked out of my mom. Can you believe it? Yeah. Yeah. Honestly, I can't. Like, yeah, the way your mom reacted to it sounds like she might have had an idea. You might not have had an idea. Your siblings might not have had an idea, but your mom kind of seems like, it was coming, whatever. Like, and I'm not even saying whose fault that is. I'm just saying it sounds like she was like, by the way, we're not doing great. Like there's some stuff going on, whatever. And it doesn't sound like she's that broken up. I know that she said whatever, but this lady's like,
yeah, she was in pieces. But like, she had it sounds like her mom had a very sane reaction. Like, you may regret this. This isn't about your immediate feelings. This is about you looking back in 10 years and seeing what this is going to be like after all the shit settles down.
Right.
Normal reaction to your husband leaving.
Yeah. So here's the thing. I don't know if she was the one who wrote this title. I don't honestly know. The title is not at all the question, because the answer is you haven't invited him in the first place. So just don't invite him. That seems pretty fucking simple, right?
Yeah.
Like that's some basic stuff. So if you wrote that title, bad job by you. If you didn't, fine. Then bad job by the title maker, because not really the question at all, right? Like, literally, it should be, should I invite my dad to the wedding? Not, how do I uninvite my dad to the wedding? Because he doesn't know when it is, so there's no invitation, right? Like, there's no invitation has been extended, so I don't, you can't retract something that hasn't gone out. I don't understand why she's so mad. Like, I don't know. I mean, maybe I just don't get it. Like, maybe
it seems like she thought her dad was a certain person, and she realized the way he dealt with this is he's not living up to some idealized version, and she's upset about that. But instead of just like talking to her dad, because it doesn't sound like they've talked yet.
No.
Instead of talking to her dad about it, she is
it'll be almost
just
impossible.
deciding.
She's in a blind rage, so it'll be almost impossible to understand anything she says.
Instead of talking to her dad about it, and I don't think she's accepting it. She's not accepting the fact that
she's very obviously not accepting this. Like, it's very obvious. Like, she's in fucking denial.
She's not even accepting what she's upset about. She's probably upset about like what she's having to like help her mom. Sounds like she's upset that it's kind of ruined her wedding. It sounds like she's upset that
it hasn't ruined anything. That's the thing. It hasn't ruined anything.
I know.
Like, it's not.
I know.
I mean, she hasn't even sent the invitations out. The invitations haven't even gone out. The fucking wedding isn't even planned yet. I don't understand. Like, it's literally, the wedding is not even occurring yet. It's not even close to occurring. She said, like, it's not, like, she hasn't sent the invitations. There's nothing to ruin. It's just an idea of a wedding in the future. Like, at some point in the future, there will be a wedding. That's all I know. I don't even know if it's going to take place in 2021.
I don't have a comment.
Oh, my God.
The part that got me was I was more sympathetic to her than you were, and that was very clear until she got to the part where the ending where it said, part of me wants to wait until he feels the need to ask me about it, and then ask him
Oh,
why he
super
needs to
passive
know.
aggressive. Super passive.
I was
Here,
like,
here we go. I almost freaked out at the time. I tried not to interrupt you. I did a good job,
I
but
know, I could feel it, but I mean, I
I
felt
don't
the same
like.
exact.
I can't stand people who are fucking passive aggressive. If you want to be passive aggressive, go back to fucking middle school. Be a fucking adult, okay? You want to know why you're in a fucking blind rage? Because you still think it's okay to be passive aggressive with people, all right? You're a shitty person if you're passive aggressive. Like, you want to be an asshole to somebody, just be an asshole to somebody, okay? You want to tell them the truth, you want to have a conversation, just fucking do it, all right? Stop being two-faced about it. Stop being a chicken. Stop hiding behind the guise of niceness. You want to be passive aggressive, then just be fucking aggressive, okay? Stop the passive bullshit, because that's just going to incite the other person, okay? You're not going to solve anything. All you're going to do is piss him off, and now you two are going to go passive aggressive back and forth unless he's going to be the bigger man. And based on what you're saying, you seem to think that he is incapable of being the bigger man. So now you and your dad are just not going to talk because you're a shitty person, okay? That's the problem. You know, two wrongs don't make a right. If somebody's going to be passive aggressive with you, at some point somebody's got to be the bigger man, and that's a very hard thing to do. I understand that. That is not in human nature. But stop being fucking passive aggressive about everything. Okay? It's really stupid that you would want what? Why do you think that? Why do you have the need for him? Why does he have to need to ask you a fucking question? He's a grown human being. He doesn't need to do anything. He doesn't need to tell your mom why he left. He doesn't need to have a conversation with your mom. He doesn't even need to be at your wedding, okay? That's not a need. A need is only for you to subsist as a human form, okay? Anything other than that is moralizing. Anything other than that is moralizing. It's all based on what you think is right and wrong. And guess what? Somebody else thinks what is right and wrong is not the same as what you think is right and wrong, okay? You can agree on 99.99999% of shit, but there's always going to be something that the two of you disagree on, okay? So he doesn't need to do a goddamn thing for you. Okay? That's not a need for him. Now, do I think there are things he should probably do? Sure. Do you think there are things he should probably do? Sure. Does this lady think there are things that she probably do? Absolutely. But that doesn't mean that he agrees with that. Okay? So if you're going to wait for that, you might be waiting forever. I don't know. You might be waiting forever. But the problem with being passive aggressive, like the legitimate problem with being passive aggressive, is that there's no incentive for the other person not to do it back to you. There just isn't. There just isn't. There's no incentive for the other person not to do the same exact thing right back in your face. And that's where I have a problem. That's where I have a problem with people who honestly think it's okay to do that, right? If you think it's okay to do that, then you probably think it's okay to go into a blind rage based on something that somebody else has done that didn't affect you at all, right? This is the problem. Like, people talk about all the time, right? Like, oh, social media, all this stuff is blowing up, and people see these things, and they're fighting online, and they're doing all these things, and I go, yeah, and by the way, most of that stuff, right? Most of that stuff is people arguing about shit that literally doesn't affect their life. And you see what happens when they go into a blind rage, right? Everybody sort of agrees that it's a toxic, it could turn into a toxic thing or whatever. That's all based on blind rage, mostly based on things that don't really affect everybody's day-to-day life. If we just ignored all those things, a lot of things would be better. Right? Just in general, like that's how it would be. That's not what this lady is capable of doing. She's literally incapable. You are incapable of being an adult. That's what I'm saying. You are incapable of being an adult. You haven't even planned a wedding. Like, whatever. Yeah, well, we planned a wedding. Whatever. No, you don't have a date. There's no wedding. There's no deadline. It's open-ended. Just whenever you feel like. That's the wedding date. So invite your dad, don't invite your dad. I don't really give a shit what you do, but you better grow up before you talk to him. You better grow up before you talk to him. Honestly, you should take a page out of your mom's book. You should understand. You should talk to her and say, hey, Mom, why did you ask that question? Or why did you bring that up? Like, would you be okay with that? Do you think I'm going to regret it? Why do you think I'm going to regret it? Right? Yeah. What is it about this situation that makes you okay saying that to me, even though I am irrationally upset about something that he did to you that I have no control over? Right?
It sounds like her mom is recognizing that being a husband and a father are two completely different roles. You can be a shitty husband and a good father. I mean, it doesn't mean it's fair to the mom. You can still be upset how shitty of a husband your dad is, but it doesn't negate, like, let's say 30 years of being a good dad, what your individual relationship was. I agree to kind of just like add a little bit to the fact that getting upset about how someone else treated someone else. Like, I understand there are some, it doesn't sound like, we don't know, but it doesn't sound like her dad's beating her mom. It doesn't sound like there's some like weird extenuating circumstance. He just left. It is okay to have unique relationships with your family members that your other family members do not. It's okay to set boundaries that another family member may not have, because people have unique relationships. A parent does not have the same exact relationship with each one of their child, and nothing. Even if your parent tells you about what it's like with their other parent, nothing about your parents' relationship, just like no one knows anything about someone's unique relationship. And it does sound like the mom is more level-headed, because the mom probably knows about the relationship on a much more intimate level, and this probably wasn't quite as shocking.
Literally wasn't shocking at all. Honestly, literally wasn't shocking at all. Wasn't shocking to her. You could fall to pieces and not be shocked. This woman was not shocked. Guarantee that. The mom saw this coming. They definitely had some sort of problems. This was not out of the blue. If it was out of the blue, your mom would have a bigger problem with this. I'm telling you, that's how it is. Stop being a fucking baby. Honestly, just stop being a fucking baby about this whole thing. Stop being a goddamn child about the fact that, your dad isn't the saint that you thought he was. Guess what? Most of our parents aren't. Most of our parents are shitty parents, or shitty people in some form or fashion. Right?
And they're not perfect.
That's how it works.
They're human.
Right.
That's like life. The other thing that I want to add is your dad wasn't happy and he did something about it. He didn't go about it in the right way that you wanted him to, but the reality is maybe he opened the door for your...
Rephrase that. No, you're right, but rephrase that. He didn't go about it in the way that you wanted him to, right? Saying it's the right way, I'm not saying you were doing this, but I'm saying I'm going to be very clear with this woman, because she doesn't seem to understand.
Yeah,
she doesn't seem to understand the moralizing, the moralizing that she's doing. He didn't go about it in the way that she wanted him to. That doesn't make it right or wrong objectively. Subjectively to her, that makes it wrong.
Yes.
Objectively, that doesn't make, and even if everybody agrees with her, that is still a subjective determination and rating of his decision and his actions.
Yeah.
So just because everybody might agree
does
not mean that is an objective fact and in a law of the fucking universe. It's okay for somebody to do something that you don't agree with. It's okay for you to think that was wrong. It's okay for you to think that was immoral. It's not okay for you to pass ultimate judgment because you're not that good a person. So you can continue your point, but I wanted to be very specific because this lady does not have the ability. She fundamentally does not have the ability to understand the amount of moralizing that she's doing in this situation. And when you start moralizing, and your life gets a lot easier when you start understanding that most of the things that you believe are not objective laws of the universe.
Yeah.
They're things that you believe for whatever reason, but they are not objective laws of the universe. And when you understand that you're not living by some greater code that exists as some sort of undefined quality that is embedded in everything around us, then you start to understand exactly what you're saying, which is your dad is an adult. He has a complicated relationship with a lot of people. He is a complex human being. And it's okay for him to want to see his daughter walk down the aisle. It's okay for your mom to want that to happen as well. It's okay for them not to be together. It's okay for you to accept that. And it's also okay for you to say, I don't care, I don't want him here, understanding that you might regret it in 6 months. I don't know if you will. I don't know if you won't. It's okay for you to say that, but that doesn't mean it's the right decision or the wrong decision. It means it's the decision that you made. So be honest with yourself about what you want, but you make the decision that you want. Don't make what you think is the right decision. You make the decision you want, because the right decision doesn't exist. There is no right decision in this situation. And just because you make a decision that you think is right today doesn't mean you're going to think it's right in 6 months. Doesn't mean you're going to think it's wrong in 6 months. It means you're going to feel how you feel in 6 months. And as long as you were honest with how you did it today, That's all that matters.
Yeah.
But stop your fucking moralizing bullshit about how this guy's a bad person because you're such a great person and you know everything and you are right and you are living by the laws of nature because you are not. You are moralizing every single thing. You are moralizing. And that makes you a bad person. So stop doing that shit. Do whatever you want, but plan your fucking wedding before you go into a goddamn blind rage about something. It's not a fucking wedding. It doesn't exist. The wedding doesn't exist. Literally doesn't exist.
My ending point that I was saying as well is not only was her dad unhappy, but I mean, this gives her mom an opportunity to potentially live a happier life too. Like her mom might not.
I agree. Get your mom late at your wedding. 100%.
You know, like it sounds like her mom's not as depressed because her mom was also unhappy, and
her mom's trying to get that wedding.
Idea that like she can start having good sex again.
Her mom's
that was my final point.
To get that wedding sex. Get your mom some wedding sex. Get your dad some wedding sex. Plan the wedding. Maybe set an actual date before you start freaking out about nothing. You know, at this rate, you're not going to have it until 2023, and you and your dad are going to have reconciled. This whole quest is going to be for naught. So, you know, that's fine. But get your mom some young strange, get your dad some old strange, whatever you want to do. I don't care. But do that. Get out of your own fucking head. Get out of your own way. Stop passing judgment on other people. Because honestly, you know, you sound like a real wet blanket. I'm gonna be honest with you. You sound like a real wet blanket. It's like a real wet blanket. Stop being a wet blanket. Plan your actual wedding. Get your head out of your ass. All right. So I think we did it.
We did.
I think we did it. I got fired up on that one. I got a little fired up on that one.
My fave.
So, you know, hopefully she sees that. Hopefully she understands what's going on. We're giving her the truth. We're giving her, you know, some step-by-step. This is what you got to do. Number one step, plan an actual wedding before you ask a wedding question. But that's this edition of Wedding Wednesdays here at Your Relationship Sucks. You can email us if you got comments or you got questions of your own. What's the email?
The email is info.yourrelationshipsucks@gmail.com.
Right, so you can hit us up there. You comment on the thing. You know, do whatever people do. I don't know.
Do the whole thing.
But,
comment and email.
Yeah, whatever. You know, do something. I don't know. It sounds like a lot of mail, but whatever. You know, do all that.
You're not checking it anyway, so why are you prematurely complaining about our responsibility?
I'm trying to help out the IT department, but you know, whatever. All right, so do those things. You know, support us, help us out. We appreciate people watching. You know, if you got questions, let us know. We will see you. We'll see you next week with another edition of Wedding Wednesdays.